morning and welcome again to another wonderful, insightful edition of Headline Roundup. And my name is Atiku, and I'm on set with a very wonderful personality, a man who is an astute politician, a spokesperson of the Atiku presidential campaign team. And I would like to keep his name for now and let you know that this is someone who was one time a commissioner and one of the longest serving commissioners in Enugu State. And his name is Honorable Chijoke. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Ikemba.
It's coming in this morning, a lot of traffic in Abuja, and one would think that a federal capital territory shouldn't be having such a traffic issue. It's like they're beginning to import the events that is happening in Lagos down to Abuja. I don't know if you're with your experience of the same thing, sir.
Well, for a couple of months now, you could see basically a government that is winding up. That's the way I look at the present administration. You can see a lot of issues in fuel distribution, which is contributing a lot to queues on the streets and all that. And once these things start happening, what you're going to see are build-up of traffic everywhere, because especially areas around the fuel stations and all that. You also see a transportation system that is actually breaking down, and it's disconcerting, so to say, because these are not the kind of ideals that you should expect from a federal capital. I'm hoping that a PDP government, which we believe God will take over power next year, should be able to critically look at the Abuja master plan again and infrastructural growth. We boast of the fact that we are the people who put Abuja back on track as one of the world's best cities. Absolutely. And that is what PDP achieved as government. We have seen the city deteriorate, and we're not only going to bring it back to what it was, I'm sure we're going to be able to improve on it.
Thank you very much, sir. Looking at the PDP's presidential campaign team, and looking at how far they've been all going through from the north to the west. Now, they're going towards the east. What's your appraisal so far?
Well, I must congratulate the candidate, Waziri Atiku Abubakar, and the entire PCC for the way they've navigated this process. You could see definitive plans. We're the first party that got out our PCC together, launched a campaign program, created the right manifesto to sell to the electorate of the vision of governance. And you can see that systematically this has been ongoing. It's going on like a movement right now. Our candidate has been on the campaign trail with his whole team. The Atiku ticket is on track, and the message is being sent out there to Nigerians. As we speak also, you realize that the PCC as constituted is, for the very first time, is not top-heavy. It is all about the grassroots. It's all about selling the message to the people. Because one difference this election will bring on board is that this election is going to be about Nigerian people. Yes. And this is what the PDP has always preached. Even in its mantra of People's Democratic Party, it's always about the people. So this is one of the elections we're really looking forward to educate Nigerians really on the vision of the PDP government and the vision of the Atiku manifesto.
So, looking at what made headline during the week just yesterday, when Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the PDP, when he actually was in host with the Association of University Professors. And in that gathering, we also had the ambassador of Canada and Mexico and several diplomatic members of the call. So one will look at what's actually the take home from that meeting. In that meeting, Atiku said, every child will have access to education under my presidency. Can we take him by his words, looking at the antecedents of other leaders who have come on board and said such things and never ever lived up to give it to Nigerians?
Well, education is the bedrock of any society. And there's no other better person to talk about education in this ballot apart from someone who has invested in it. Atiku Abubakar has invested so much in education that he should be able to know and talk about education. What we saw on that day was part of the PDP Atiku Okowa master plan of the seriousness Nigerian government is going to give to education post this government. The mantra of every child is entitled to education is actually something that the PDP even started. You know, it was truncated by this government, and we're hoping that this very visionary initiative of the PDP government will come back, because as a right, society owes every child education. As a right, society owes every child health care. And these are commitments that Atiku Okowa ticket has always been emphasizing on. The bedrock of growth of any nation is how you educate your people. The skill levels you acquire are what even enhances societal growth. All these economic downturns, insecurity, and the myriad of problems we're having as a nation, part of the reasons is the amount of investments we're making in education. If we're not making the right investments in education, we're not going to benefit from the long-term benefits of having every child educated. So, and when I say Atiku Abubakar is the fittest amongst the people who won the ballot to talk about that, it's basically because the other contestants have not really given serious thought to the long-term effects of education. It's like a pyramid, because it is from the primary school, nursery school, primary school, secondary school age that you even learn about nationalism. They even learn about loving your country. These are the bedrocks of nation building. And if you do not invest in that strata of society, you're just living off the wave. So it's very important that Nigerians begin to understand that message, because what's the Atiku Abubakar ticket is selling is something that is sustainable and long-term. And it's something that will inure to the benefit of every child in Nigeria.
So, let me pick your thoughts on this. Looking at Atiku Abubakar, which are all these quotes to him, he said that every insecurity you see in this country actually is because it's anchored upon no education to the north. And he has also boasted that he has never, for once, closed down his school on strike for any reason. I'm talking about the ASU issue here. I'm talking about the bottlenecks that have been putting the professors who are supposed to be in the classes and actually taking leave from class. But before you answer that, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, I'll take you on this. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard Flight 2023 Atiku Okowa 2023. I have my co-pilot here with me, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, keeping track on all navigation systems. Our destination is a united Nigeria. Right now, we're cruising at 2022 feet above sea level. Before we arrive at our destination, let me give you a brief update on what to expect at our destination. Number 1, the temperature is going to be hot on security issues. 2, the people are going to be better educated, and the educational system and healthcare will be accessible to every citizen. 3, the economy is going to be thriving and booming. And of course, there'll be true federalism. This and many more to be expected for a united and prosperous Nigeria. So sit back and relax, and before you know it, if we all join hands together, we shall arrive at the new united Nigeria we all dream of soon enough. My name is Atiku Abubakar. As one, we can get it done.
Viewers, you're welcome back to Headline Roundup. Before we went on the short break, I was texting you about the capacity and the ability of our presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, to deliver on his promises on education to every child.
It's important to understand that investments in education are things that the Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has always made. We owe it as a responsibility to every Nigerian child to be educated. You could trace the economic downturns, insecurity, and all that to lack of education, because education gives you skills. And there's this lack of skills that you could intractably trace to insecurity in Nigeria. We're hoping that this outgoing government should be able to continue on what they are doing, which is showing Nigerians that they have no interest whatsoever in education. What you see that culminating into is long months of students being at home without any care or bother by government on the long-term effects. You know, this ASU strike, this recent ASU strike is criminal and one of the worst things that happened in the history of this country. It is despicable to imagine that students will be at home for upwards of 9 months and government is still in place. In a sane society, no government will be in place.
Absolutely.
And when you see people who have run universities professionally, run them perfectly well, running for office, it's important to encourage them. Nigerians need to get the right narrative. Investment in education is a long-term project. It requires vision, it requires consistency. The Atiku ticket has promised to raise the bars in education, has promised to ensure that we bring in private sector initiative into education funding in Nigeria. We promise to expand the bars of research to ensure that the outcomes from our schools measure up to international standards. And what other evidence do you need to believe that, if not from someone who has practiced it in principle, who has practiced it in reality? You know, the university owned by the presidential candidate of PDP is one of the best universities in the world. And it's not that expensive to go to school there. There's no reason why we cannot replicate that mandate across the federal universities all over the country. So I believe strongly that, given a chance, that the Atiku ticket will do a whole lot for Nigerian education sector.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Looking at what Senator Ben Obi and Professor Obiora actually does, talking about the Southeast campaign rally that will be starting off from tomorrow. He spoke extensively about the special team who is going around to actually unify the G5 governors. Looking at this timeline of this, would I call it in-house misunderstanding, can we say that this is not going to be a kind of bottleneck, or are we going to resolve this before the election?
You'll understand that the G5 issues, of course, why I really don't like talking about it again is that it's been overflogged so much, because one basic fact is clear. The campaigns are on, and the elections will hold in February, and PDP is on the ballot. The process of reconciliation is an ongoing process. It definitely might not have timelines, so I cannot really talk much about it. But what I'm pretty sure about is that the South, South, and Southeast is a PDP-dominated environment, and I do not see us losing control of those areas, in spite of whatever internal attractions they have. Because PDP is a party that since 1999 has dominated that space. And when you talk about space dominance, it's actually in deliverables in governance. So it's not just about that PDP wins elections there. It's about those states actually star states that performed well in democratic space. We are not unmindful of the fact that we have candidates coming from the Southeast who are on the ballot to run elections. We understand the fact that there will be some sentiments based on that. But we're very confident that we're going to win elections in those states.
Alhaji Atiku has been adjudged to be a unifying factor in our polity. And looking at what actually happened yesterday when Governor Nyesom Wike, the governor of Rivers State, said, I have no issues with Atiku. Do you take it that all the other G5 members, as people perceive them to be, that they are the ones pushing for this so-called fairness, equity, and justice? But looking at the position and the posturing of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, he has been called a unifier. What do you think it would be your advice if you are at this standpoint?
It's something you must realize that, which is a very strong mark of leadership of Waziri Atiku Abubakar. Since this whole internal dynamic started unfolding, you have always seen him on the reconciliatory side. He has never been one who has issued statements or tried to vilify anyone for the stance they take. Rather, he has shown them understanding and made commitments on why we cannot derail the electoral process until after the elections. The G5 governors, you will realize that 4 of them actually on the ballots on the same day, 3 of them on the ballot on the same day with Atiku Abubakar running for senatorial seats. 1 is running for a gubernatorial second term 2 weeks shortly after. It's only Governor Wike that is not on the ballot. And they've all resumed their campaigns and they're all talking about voting PDP. We can understand the issues they have with what you term equity and justice, because I have a very different viewpoint about it. But then, like, I'd rather we have peace in our party, wait for the president to win the election, which he will win, and then we'll look at whatever divides that are in the party and see ways of settling them in such a way that there's a balance of factors. The issues that threw up the national chairman were not caused by Atiku Abubakar. So removing a national chairman of PDP now satisfy 5 governors will be derailing Atiku Abubakar's campaign process. So it's also another opportunity to appeal to our brother governors who have been agitating for equity and justice, to at least look at things from a totally different perspective that other party members in PDP are seeing it from. That these issues will be addressed, but you have to wait for the election to be concluded first of all.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Something actually that has been bothering Nigerians has been the non-signing of the peace pact by Bola Ahmed Tinubu with the APC presidential candidate. And of recent, we've witnessed the burning of INEC offices, the burning of PDP campaign office, and of recent, a coalition has come out that the service chiefs, the intelligence agencies, their heads should actually be sacked. Are you in line with these thoughts, or you have other further solutions that you actually be offering to this present day, because this election must come and must actually be won by Atiku? So we must have a country before we have an election. What do you have to say, sir?
First of all, is that I don't think APC is looking every day that APC doesn't have a presidential candidate on the ballot, because you're seeing a party that is ill-prepared, a party that has not gotten it right, a party that is in power and trying to criticize the government that they are trying to take over from, a party that is trying to deny the fact that they were part of the 7.5 years of mismanagement of Nigerian resources. This is a party that tries to hang on a Lagos that was created by the same federal government and hanging on it as a footstool to run for president of Nigeria. That's why I say, in all fairness, I don't think the candidacy of Bola Tinubu is something any Nigerian should take seriously. If you really wish Nigeria well, and I say this with all clarity, anyone who wishes Nigeria well will not have somebody who has a lot of questions and baggages around him trying to aspire to such responsible office as the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, we need to understand that this thing is devoid of tribal sentiments. I'm in PDP. I'm not supporting the candidates from the Southeast. And I want to encourage people to begin to look at things that way. We have to build a country, first of all. The PDP, the APC, it's becoming obvious by the day that they don't have confidence in the new technology INEC is introducing. This is a technology that has worked in Osun State. It has worked in Ekiti State. We lost in Ekiti State. We won in Osun State. We are more bothered about improving on that technology to ensure that we have elections that are truly free and fair. Now, because the APC doesn't want free and fair elections, I suspect that is why it's even unquote their national chairman and their candidates, Bola Tinubu, are totally against the use of beavers in the elections. I suspect that it is the inability of them to have their way with the INEC structure that is making them create upheavals here and there to ensure that they disrupt the system. It's now an opportunity to call on our security agencies, especially the service chiefs, if they really mean well for democracy, to try and see what processes they can put in place to nip these challenges in bud so it doesn't mar the elections coming up in February and March. This is a call to them to live up to responsibility, to ensure that they give Nigerians the kind of government they deserve. The APC government will never be allowed to disrupt the electoral process. They will never, this ongoing burning of INEC offices and trying to flip, voters' cards of people and all that must be stopped. This is not the way to win an election. One begins to wonder, when you go for their rallies and all that, or you watch their rallies on TV, you never really see them saying anything. So you wonder, what is the manifesto you claim you launched when your candidate cannot even talk about it? What is the manifesto? What are you bringing to the table for Nigerians when you cannot even tell them without reading it from a script?
Sorry, you're already taking the whole word away from the talk. So actually, I was going to ask you this. The man Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you know him too well. You've been in this politics for.
I won't claim I know him.
For me, that's his personality. Because I'm talking from the corners of, you have been in the executive, you've been a commissioner in Enugu State, one of the longest serving commissioners. Can you boldly say that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is fit and ready? If by mistake, if by hook and cranny, he comes in to become the executive president of this country, can you say he's fit enough to stand for election?
I will just look at it from the perspective of people get the kind of leadership they deserve. If Nigerians are going to watch a Bola Ahmed Tinubu become a president of Nigeria, that means that's what they deserve.
Sorry, sir. But before you go on that thought, I want the viewers to see this video so that you will be a talking point by the time we come back from this. That was the campaign rally yesterday in Kaduna, and in Niger State, he moved. The day for yesterday was in Kaduna, and yesterday in Niger State. So we're going to show those two videos so that people can see the inconsistency and the incoherency of the unfit Bola Ahmed Tinubu that APC is presenting to Nigerians. Watch this video.
No. Please move back a little. This thing is getting down.
Getting down. He's going down. Please go back the stage.
Your Excellency,
move
please.
off the stage, please. Please move off the stage. Move off the stage.
Go. God bless you. God bless Niger State.
God bless Jagaban.
May God. Tiny regime. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of our Lord, the magnificent, the Father of all, the ruler, the greatest God.
It's actually ridiculous, and that we had to take our viewers to go through that pain of watching that video. And in the first video, you could see that Bola Ahmed Tinubu could not recite just a basic prayer in an Islamic tone. In the second video, you could see him basically just giving, I wouldn't call that a speech, but I would like to say just he has to be rushed off the stage. Would you want that to be executive president, sir?
You know, this is just one of the things, the series of comedies that's been going on in the APC presidential campaign trail. From what happened yesterday, from the things that happened in Owerri to Chatham House, just going around the whole world embarrassing Nigeria. And I think it's about time we start looking at this project of presidency as something much, much more serious than what they are presenting. You know, if the kind of things that the presidential kind of APC has shown and talked about, it's just symptomatic of somebody who is just catching cruise. Because I don't understand how anybody who seriously wants to govern 200 million people cannot tell them what he wants to do for them, cannot be able to even talk to the crowd of people and let them assess him and see his competence level. You know, because this just like going for an exam. You're going for an examination and you feel that you don't need to read for it. You feel that they should just pass you, you know. And there's something that's actually, I want to talk about, this issue of trying to campaign on the mantra of Lagos. Anybody who knows Lagos knows that Lagos was the federal capital of Nigeria. And since then, right from Mobolaji Johnson up till the present Babajide Sanwo-Olu, they've had series of governors in Lagos. And Lagos has continued to be on a growth stride. It is a commercial city and naturally has a pull and push effect of people wanting to make a living from there. For a single man to start claiming that he built Lagos, I think those are the kind of things that will make, that people should actually be watchful of. Because when you tell such barefaced lies to people and you want to put it down their throats, it's only symptomatic of what you're going to do if God forbid, you're given an opportunity to rule. You know, I will not question your religion, but it smacks of commercial Islamism if you cannot even quote the basic tenets of your religion. So just like how a lot of things surrounding the presidential candidate of APC are suspect, it's also not out of place to suspect whether he even believes that he's a Muslim. You know, so it's these are all the things that we believe that people who are coming to equity must come with clean hands. You cannot be seeking to govern a people and everything about you is shady. What I mean by everything about you is shady. You have made absolutely no efforts to correct those impressions. You've made absolutely no efforts to put those records straight. And what does it tell you? It tells you as somebody who doesn't care. It tells you as somebody who, it defines the capacity that you're putting on the ballot if given an opportunity. And this is the kind of note of warning to Nigerians. We don't have to make these mistakes again. This country is too serious to be governed by people who are not serious-minded. The things that happen in Lagos, I can even talk about from 1999 because I lived in Lagos then. There was really not much. Tinubu was a lackluster governor. One of his biggest achievements was handing over to Fashola. And it was all part of his political strategy of trying to have a strong hold on the political system and try and appoint a technocrat, not elect, appoint a technocrat as governor, so they can be pulling him from the back to the House of Assembly and to the party structure. That is why you have all those scandals about tax and all that, about alpha, beta and stuff. And when you want to anchor on the growth Fashola achieved, you recall the fact that he didn't want him to go for a second term because he was trying to have a mind of his own. Ambode did not survive you because he was trying to have a mind of his own. These were successful governors in Lagos. You're now trying to take in their hard work as part of your growth plan. Well, come on, who does that? Well, these are people is on record, you fought them.
No, Tinubu does that.
You fought them, you had two deputy governors as a governor because you couldn't work with Koforola Bucknor. Femi Pedro came in, you still couldn't work with him. You brought in Fashola, you wanted him out after the first term. You brought him Ambode, you succeeded in taking him out after the first term. Fashola only succeeded because the average Lagosians told you that if you try this thing, if Fashola goes to PDP, they will vote for him. That's why Fashola got his second term ticket. If not, Tinubu had already flipped him. You know, and when people look at all these things, and this is a state you're using as an example of how you will build Nigeria. It's typical. So I'm not looking at anything positive that will come out of a Bola Tinubu ticket or a Bola Tinubu presidency.
Honorable Chiyoke, we'll first spend our time on the show. But before you leave, we're looking at a team that's actually ready to recover, prepared to actually make Nigeria fix it as it's actually supposed to be. I'm talking about the Atiku Okowa Presidential Campaign Organization. Atiku in Anambra, what do you envisage? What are your take-homes that you're going to tell Nigerians right here and here that the Southeast is in the bag for Atiku Abubakar? How do you pray, sir?
I strongly believe that nothing has changed in the dominance of PDP in the Southeast. Like I said earlier, yeah, it's true we have someone from the Southeast running strongly for the presidency. But we also have very strong people from the Southeast who believe in the PDP. So I don't see much of changes that are going to happen around there, apart from the fact that maybe some emotive votes, what I call them emotive, are votes that turn out the emotion of this person is our brother. You're going to see those kind of tendencies on election day, I believe, or I suspect rather. But I don't see that overly affecting the outcomes of the elections. Because Enugu State, where I come from, I'm 100% sure Atiku is going to win Enugu State. Anambra State, Atiku is going to win Anambra State. Just like so many other states in the Southeast and South-South. It's going to be, we're not looking at, not taking anything for granted. We've continued to talk to our people, to educate them on the futility of throwing away our votes, so that tomorrow we don't come complaining that we're not included in the government. We continue to do that, to educate our people, educate them on the benefits of what Atiku Abubakar is bringing on the table to the Southeast especially. Raising the bars in entrepreneurship, seriously addressing the issues of devolution of powers, and finally talking about the restructuring the Southeast has always clamored for. These are things that should get our people thinking and allow somebody who has the capacity to legislatively put those things into place, because it's very important. We need to understand how governance works. The Labour Party ticket is going into an election without even enough candidates on the legislative ballot. A lot of changes you're claiming you can bring on the table need legislative deliberations and approvals. If you don't have it, that means you're making empty promises. A candidate who tells you the agitations of the Southeast about restructuring, I hold him on his word that the first bill I will send to the National Assembly after his inauguration is a bill on restructuring. It's very important our people understand this. And what does it portend for us? It means that those things we're clamoring for, those agitations, that the process of nipping them in the bud has started. And it will culminate in a president of Southeast extraction. Because some of us who are in the PDP, after Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's presidency, will continue to agitate. The Southeast truly deserves to be part of the leadership of this country. But it has to be by consensus. It has to be merited. We will encourage it. And let nobody think that people from southern Nigeria and the PDP do not want the Southeast to have the presidency. We're just saying that let us recover our country, first of all, from the mismatch and problems that have envisaged in the last 7.5 years. We tend to forget that PDP created this democracy. Nigeria was rated the largest economy in Africa under the PDP government. We are now one of the worst economies in Africa. What PDP is trying to do is to recover that thing they started and take it, advance it better. Bearing new technology and new ways. That is where our youths are very critical to this project. Because they're going to be the beneficiaries of those private enterprise. They're going to be the beneficiaries of those MSME loans. They're going to be the beneficiaries of those tech grants. They're going to be the beneficiaries of those partnerships in developing apps, in enhancing entertainment, in growing businesses. These are strongholds of young people. And Atiku Abubakar has said, I am going to offload national assets that are not of critical importance and put them in the hands of the private sector to enhance economic growth and use the proceeds to fund startups. It's on quotes. Use the proceeds to fund startups. So you're seeing a president who is youth-oriented. The PDP campaign structure you see today, for the very first time, has the greatest number of youth participation.
Absolutely.
It is because they believe and they are bought into this project. We're encouraging Nigerians to believe and buy into this project.
Honorable
PDP will
Chioke
not
Ago,
disappoint you. Thank you.
A one-time commissioner in Enugu State, a professional consultant to Nigerian professionals for Atiku. Thank you for coming on the show. You've rightly pointed out that Nigerians need a fit, a mentally alert president, and that's nobody but Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who is actually going to be in Anambra State, and it's going to be a test point for the Labour Party, where actually they have another presidential candidate from from APGA and Labour Party. And we all know that Anambra has always been PDP, and we are telling you, go out and collect your PVC, vote PDP. We only going to recover this country if we are ready to do it, and together we can get it done. Thank you very much on the show. My name is Iko Kuchidoze Ikemba. Join us again tomorrow for another wonderful and insightful moment on Headline Roundup. Thank you very much. Thank you.